Hello and welcome to the Regulation Asia video series. Now, back in December 2021, we hosted the Regulation Asia Awards for Excellence. One of the firms that picked up an award that evening was Droit, walking away with a one to watch for trade reporting. I'm delighted to be joined today by Droit's CEO, Arnason, and Chief Commercial Officer, Craig Butterworth. Gentlemen, congratulations again and great to have you with us.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us.
Cool. Let's dive straight in. Craig, I'll start with you. What are some of the trends that you are seeing in the wealth industry and how is Droit addressing these?
Well, like many other industries, the wealth sector is currently undergoing huge disruption and transformation. Firstly, there's the fact that end client expectations are really rapidly evolving. Yes, they still value the high-touch relationships with their relationship managers, which have characterized the sector for many decades. But at the same time, high net worth individuals also now expect a frictionless, integrated and omni-channel experience. So they want to be able to deal with their wealth manager when and how it suits them. And then at the same time, those individuals are increasingly looking to get exposure to more sophisticated products, more akin to what maybe only an institutional investor would historically have had access to. And if that all wasn't enough, the wealth sector faces ever more regulatory scrutiny and rule sets. Admittedly, they've not been as affected as the wholesale sector has since the global financial crisis, but there's no getting away from the fact that the wealth regulatory burden is much higher than it has ever been, and the regulators are looking for the sector to step up. And clearly, those dynamics present a huge challenge for the incumbent players. How do you deliver unprecedented levels of client service while simultaneously ensuring compliance with ever more complex and onerous regulations? Given those dynamics, wealth managers, and in particular, I think the wealth divisions of universal banks are investing heavily in building single platforms which can act as a conduit to their capital markets divisions, so as to be able to cross-sell a whole range of products in a truly frictionless manner. And that's great, strategically makes total sense, but it also makes the compliance obligations I referred to earlier all the more pronounced. And that's where we believe Droit has a critical role to play.
Brock, there are several vendors right now looking to solve compliance challenges for wealth managers around cross-border regulations. How is Droit looking at the issue and what makes your approach different?
So I think that first we have to think about what Droit does. We are pioneers in computational law and the automation of intelligent decision-making. We see the complexity of rules and regulations as an opportunity to act better. And we do this through two primary means. One, we meet clients where they are by engaging with their policies as they exist today. So what does that mean? That means that instead of taking a third-party set of policies and rule interpretations and implementing those out of the box, we actually engage with legal advice, existing policies that clients bring to the table. We operationalize those for them. So we create logic models for those institution-specific policies. We make them machine executable and human readable, and we update them as those policies change with time. Second, we engage with technology as it is used by clients. So we can deploy our Adept technology platform on-prem. We can deploy that directly or through a private cloud. We integrate into existing workflows via a simple API, and we provide decision support over web, mobile, or existing third-party advisory platforms within the client's secure infrastructure. Droit for Wealth provides proof that your policies were followed with a rigorous audit trail that is traceable to versioned policy text. Every decision has a record. The platform itself includes the annotator, which represents digital text, which reflects policies and regulations, the logic viewer, which provides a view of decision models, and the decision engine itself, which provides decisions and traceability. And so the value that we provide is driven by our platform capabilities, joined to the client's in-house technology and legal advice.
Excellent, thank you. And Craig, so beyond digitizing and automating compliance for cross-border rules and internal policies, how else can Droit's products contribute to a wealth manager's experience with the clients?
Well, based on the feedback we've received from clients and a number of consultancy firms in the space, the message we consistently hear is that if you were to lay out a time and motion study of the wealth advisor workflow, it would probably resemble a large bowl of spaghetti. And why is that? Well, the broad areas of cross-border, suitability, and tax rules run through so many different aspects of the client journey. So in practice, the wealth advisor has to constantly log into multiple different systems to check which policies apply, and then to evaluate these against the data inputs provided by the end client. It's an incredibly manual, tedious, and inefficient process, which is hugely susceptible to human error. Given that backdrop, it's no surprise that there are a number of vendors out there who focus on improving client advisor productivity through predominantly UI-heavy workflow solutions. So their mission is to break down historic data and system silos to provide a single pane of glass for client advisors. And that's great. It's a big improvement on the legacy workflow, but there's still a gap to augment the decision-making process itself. Specifically, there's a gap to make those decisions almost effortless, not to mention auditable, traceable, and transparent, and all in a non-invasive real-time manner. No surprises, that's where Droit comes in, enabling the shift from complexity to simplicity in the wealth managers' engagement with their clients. So building on my earlier comment about the trend towards omnichannel client engagement, it means wealth managers are increasingly going to need to be able to make the right decisions about what they can or can't advise, but now in real time. So historically, the inefficiency created by having slower moving, siloed client interactions really provided a wealth manager with the time to jump through those manual hoops of having to check various different policies, different logins, different systems, etc. But when you've got that seamless omnichannel experience, by definition, those friction points are now largely a thing of the past. So in other words, there's nowhere to hide those legacy clunky compliance processes, or they will directly negatively impact on client experience. And then when you look even further ahead, given the recent advances in natural language processing technology, no doubt many wealth managers will be hoping to soon deliver compliant advice at the speed of speech, so true real-time capability. And that all means robust, non-invasive, split-second decision-making capability. It is no longer just a nice to have. Instead, it's an essential component if wealth managers are to remain both competitive and compliant in the face of a rapidly changing landscape. In short, Droit enables wealth managers to cover more clients, to deliver them a better client experience, but at the same time, simultaneously reduce operational risk profiles as well.
Excellent, thank you. So Brock, the wealth segment is obviously a large part of APAC's financial services sector. What's traction been like in APAC more broadly, and what are your kind of growth plans in the region?
So we have a large number of global financial institutions as clients. They tend to have a significant APAC trading presence. We've been servicing those clients for some time, supporting decision processes at point of trade for global transaction reporting requirements, and to driving decisions in Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Japan, to name some examples. Recently, we've deployed comprehensive solutions for Australian banks, particularly for complex point of trade decisions. We have product business development and technical integration staff in region. We've had an Australian office for a number of years. We're opening a Singapore office in the next few months as a launching point for expansion into Hong Kong, Singapore, and Japan. And for wealth, we think the unique multi-jurisdictional challenges faced by wealth managers in the APAC region merit particular focus. We're committed to expansion in the region and to engagement with the specific concerns of regional institutions.
Excellent. So that's a great way to wrap up. So I'd like to thank Brock Arnason, CEO, and Craig Butterworth, Chief Commercial Officer at Droit, for joining me today. Wishing you and the team all the best for 2022. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.